is going on here?
Skip, here's the thing. They fought so hard because the players were trying to cut the preseason out. The NFL owners fought so hard. We need preseason. Now it's overrated.
Ah, good point.
Okay, Skip, but here's the thing. I just want to know, and we had this conversation yesterday after we watched Hard Knocks. I think it was Tuesday night.
Yep.
Why is Stephen Jones talking about this? This is Mike McCarthy's area of expertise. He's supposed to say who will or will not, or how much they will or will not play in the preseason. Not the VP, not the CEO of the team.
Can you say puppet coach?
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's head coach in name only. Because here's the thing. He has no say in the final 53. He has no say in the draft.
No.
He has no say in free agency. So the only thing he is the head coach. I'm the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't do jack nothing.
Well, he has to say when he gets to deliver a motivational speech, and Shannon Sharpe says, I don't want to play for that guy. Yep.
That was nothing. So for me, I don't get, and I can just take it from me, Skip. The reason why I felt preseason was important, if I didn't make the playoffs, Skip, and even if I did, I'm going to not play a game for 7 whole months. I was a rhythm. I was a cadence. Get my breathing down. Get my timing down.
Got it.
So I'm just going to go into the game. So you want Dak Prescott to just go in a game against JPP, Shaq Barrett, and Dominican Sue, Vita Veda, those linebackers, Levante David, and that monster in the middle. So that's what you want him to go against with nothing in the last 11 months. Because remember, Skip, he got hurt the 1st of October. So it's going to almost be 11 months. And you say, Dak, you good. Go on in there and face that. That's secondary. And I saw him throwing that ball, Skip. I saw him throwing it. That was soft toss again. Now, that was with a football, but that was soft toss.
Yep.
You can't play a regular season game with throwing the ball like that. And before I turn it over to you, if everything's okay, why is Dak getting another MRI?
Good question.
Normally, if everything's okay, the doctor don't say, well, go get another MRI. After you've already had an MRI and you're progressing as well, because they say he's going to miss a couple of days. If I'm not mistaken, he missed somewhere between 7 and 10 days. And now, he's progressing just fine. But we're going to get an MRI just in case of what? Did he feel some discomfort? Is it not progressing as well as you? Because I know what you try to do, Cowboys, because the Cowboys released this. This is not some source says Dak can get another MRI. They released it because they're trying to get ahead of the story, because if the source released it, they're going to cause alarm. So what they're trying to do is to calm it down. We're going to put it out to let you know we're not concerned about it. But you are concerned. I can assure you, anytime someone gets an MRI, there's a level of concern. You just don't order MRI. Doctors just don't order MRIs if everything's okay. I think you and the Cowboy faithful are starting to become very alarmed.
Mr. Sharpe, for once, you have me backed into a Cowboy corner.
I love it.
Because I cannot disagree with one word you just uttered from your Hall of Fame lips. Okay, let's start from the start.
Okay.
Let's start with my man, Dak Prescott, who I said yesterday can be so guarded and so evasive in interviews. Yet yesterday he did an interview in which he divulged. He was the source of this. I'm going to have another MRI when we get back to Frisco or to Dallas, right?
Correct.
When we go home, which will be after this Friday night's game, which is at Arizona. They're on their way home, so it would be Monday back in the Dallas area. He would get yet another MRI.
Okay.
This is the same Dak Prescott who in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, you saw it, he bragged about how he kept his second surgery from the media.
Right.
We didn't even let that get out.
Right.
That he needed a second one that caused a little wishbone of a scar because he's got 2 slits, right? Leading into one.
Right.
Because they had to go back in a second time to, I don't know, clean it up a little more. It wasn't healing. I don't know exactly what happened, what went wrong, but it wasn't a good thing that he needed a second surgery when already he had a career-threatening ankle injury, to your point, that has kept him away from football for far, far too long, especially when you play the key position in the sport, which is called quarterback.
Correct.
So it comes from Dak's lips yesterday that sends out the 5-alarm fire that hits the internet like, uh-oh, he needs another MRI. Now, I could argue that this is just part of the recovery process. You could argue, and you could make the case that, okay, you need one more, which is a 3D soft tissue picture, just so you could go in there and make sure that the either torn lat muscle or strained lat muscle is on the mend or maybe 100% completely recovered, just so you know for sure what the pathology is under the surface when you take away the guesswork, right?
Okay.
But it strikes me as strange that he divulged this yesterday, because it smacks of a Kawhi or Michael Thomas situation where they went to their own doctors to try to heal themselves because they weren't quite in tune with what the team doctors were telling them.
Okay.
So is Dak sort of going rogue here and saying, I've decided I need to get another MRI because I'm not completely comfortable with the way this is feeling at this point?
Exactly, because you told me it was going to be a couple of days. Here I am, 7 to 10 days.
Right.
And even now, I still don't feel that I can throw the ball like I would need to.
Because, as you said, we keep seeing daily video, but he's soft tossing.
Yes.
Because in Hard Knocks, when we saw the opening of camp, when he's throwing it in the buckets, you know, the 3 buckets that are up there.
Yeah, in the net,
He was throwing rockets.
Thank you.
And it looked like vintage, like better than ever.
Right.
And obviously he is so just, his whole body is aching to get back on the field because he is a gamer. He is a baller.
Right.
That's what he does for a living. That's his genetic code.
Right.
He balls out. And he obviously, when you get $75 million this year and you beat Jerry Jones and took him to the bank and the cleaners, don't you want to back it up immediately and show your team? You told me you want to show the Ravens, I'm good.
I'm what you purchased.
Yes, that's what you paid for. Okay, so we have all that leading to the Stephen Jones quote. And I'm so with you about preseason, and I get it. There are some players, some veteran players who need little to no preseason, and you can argue that a Zeke, you just want to protect him.
Right.
You might even argue a couple of those offensive linemen, Ty or Lyle Collins or maybe Zach Martin, that they need a few reps, but not a whole lot of reps.
Skip, we're not saying play Dak the entire game, but let him get a series or two to get his rhythm back.
Okay, so allow me to make this point. Who is the greatest quarterback who ever played? Well, I think we finally agreed that it's that 44-year-old who is now running arguably the best offense in pro football for arguably the best team in pro football. And I think you've even seen the light. You think they're the best team, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what does Tom Brady do in the preseason? What has he done if you just look back over the last 5 or 6 preseasons, what is his MO in the preseason? He plays football.
Yeah, he's always played.
He just plays. I look back at his, his last 5 years in New England.
Right.
Was this Belichick or Brady? In this case, I believe it's Tom just saying, hey, I need reps.
Right.
He averaged playing a full game in the preseason where he would take 2 games and play the whole first half.
Right.
Now, you got to play your starters if you're going to play your quarterback.
You definitely got to play your starting offensive line.
That's what I'm saying.
You get backup receivers, but you got to have your starting line.
Think about this. From ages 37 to 42, his last 5 years in New England, he averaged playing a half and a half, 2 preseason games for 5 straight years, from 37 to 42.
Right.
And the key one was 2018, the last time New England won the Super Bowl when they beat the Rams, remember, in what was a hard game to watch, but they got there, right? They got there and won the game. In that preseason, Tom Brady played in 2 games and played the entire first half, and I'm just going to give you the numbers just quickly, just to show you how much he was playing football. He was against Philly in week 2. He was 19 of 26 with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. So he threw 26 passes. And then they went to Carolina. And I watched this whole first half because I was in awe. He was still in the game up to halftime. That's a long time for your starter to play, right? He was getting knocked around in that game, and it was getting dicey and dangerous. And he threw 18 passes in the first half.
Right.
Why does he do that? Why does the greatest quarterback ever play that much in the preseason? Because he knows he needs to establish rapport with his Shannon Sharpe, right?
Yes, it's time. Skip that position.
It's all
timing.
It's all timing. It's connection. It's rhythm. It's vibe. It's I know where you're going to be.
Right.
I have chemistry with you.
Right.
And the only way to get real chemistry is under real fire. And it's not even real fire, but it's better than campfire, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's what Tom Brady does. And they have already announced they're going to play their first game against Cincinnati at home on Saturday night. And Bruce Arians said, well, he's at least going to play a series or two, and that's their first preseason game.
And that's normally how it works, Skip. You play a series or two, then you play a quarter, maybe into the second quarter, then you play to the half or maybe a series in the third quarter. That's normally how it works. Then your starters are done for the rest of the game, and you don't even play the fourth preseason game. But you've gotten some play under your belt.
So help me out here. To your point, Dak Prescott made it through 4 full games and then a part of the 5th game last year. So that's effectively, we'll give him those 5. So that means 11 games he missed at the down the stretch last year. And then in the first camp padded practice this year, as we saw in Hard Knocks, he strains his arm. An injury I've never heard of before. And we both said you hear about tired arms or dead arms in camp, but you don't hear about pulled muscles.
Lat muscles, no.
Nope, I've never heard of that one before. So it's a little strange, and you made a good point yesterday. Is it possible that his lower half he's just not comfortable turning into, and so you just kind of arm throw it until you finally arm throw it until something goes? Maybe. Okay, I give you that. So now to your other point, Stephen Jones is trying to say, I'm going to read the quote here. He says, I just think Dak Prescott knows how to play the game of football, and whether he plays a series or two against Houston isn't going to affect how he's going to play in the opener against Tampa. That opener happens to be on September the 9th, which is a Thursday night, which means it's the solo opener for the defending champs at home against a defense that I'm going to remind everybody caught fire in the postseason. Todd Bowles' defense caught fire.
Yeah, and they're going to want to show that wasn't a fluke. This is who they actually are. So Devin White, that monster that I was talking about earlier, he going to be chomping at the bit.
Okay. And everybody came back. Shaq Barrett, you can argue, you thought he was gone, but you can say he took a little bit of a hometown discount to stay and show that we're going to run this back, right? So let's just look quickly at what that defense did down the playoff stretch at Drew Brees. Brees went 19 of 34, 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, and threw for a grand total of 134 yards and at a QBR, scale of 1 to 100, of 32 against that defense. Were you not impressed?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's what Dak's up against. Aaron Rodgers fared a little better on yardage because he did throw for 346, although they were down, and he was just flinging it at the end.
But they sacked him like 5 times.
They were all over him the whole game. He had a QBR of 68, which was decent, but not Aaron Rodgers great, and they lost 31-26 at home in the NFC Championship game, and you have to give the defense a large share of the credit for that. And then you know what happened to Patrick Mahomes. He couldn't even set his feet before he was getting rocked or hassled by somebody some way. And he winds up throwing no touchdowns and 2 interceptions with a QBR, scale of 1 to 100, of 50. So he had a dead average QBR against that defense. That defense is going to be primed and spoiling to show the world it was no fluke. And you're going to throw Dak, who can't even practice padded practice with his own team, right? Into the fire against that fire-eating, fire-breathing defense,
That's what Steven says. Skip, what do you think the chances are? At any point in time in the 20-year they were together, Coach Belichick, Mr. Kraft, and Tom Brady. Mr. Kraft had the press conference and say, you know what, I think preseason's overrated. I don't think Tom's going to play. What owner? What general manager? That's the coaches. Just like when I see Mike McCarthy out there say, you know, I'm thinking about Zeke's workload because he got a lot of carries on that body. What you think? Why are you asking him? They hired you. But see what you did, you lied. Because Skip, remember, he told him, I watched every game, every snap you guys took. Then he get the job. He like, well, I really didn't watch every snap. I was just wanting the job, so I just told him that. Mike McCarthy. Skip, that's the problem. The dysfunctionality of all of this. The owners, the general manager, the CEO, whatever title the Joneses have, we know they own the team. They should not be making decisions. Who play that? Skip, you think Jerry could have told Jimmy Troy's not going to play in the preseason? Emmitt's not going to play in the preseason.
He might have tried.
That was not going to even be a discussion because you need to play. Peyton Manning played in the preseason. Even after he came off the neck injury. Skip, you got to get a rhythm. You got to get timing. Maybe some defensive guys because it's reactionary.
Okay.
You don't need it. But a quarterback, it's hard for me to see a quarterback not needing some repetition, especially after he missed basically the entire previous season with an injury.
Got it. So to continue this disgusting dysfunction that you speak of, when Dak uttered MRI in his media session yesterday, it forced Cowboys Twitter
Forced him to do it.
into scramble mode.
Right.
Into we must defuse this bombshell before it just explodes all over Twitter.
Too late.
And so they try to say it's not a setback and it's not a reason to worry, but quarterback Dak Prescott is planning on getting another MRI.
Okay.
That's like MRI is equal to SOS, right? It's like, what? He is?
Yes.
And even if it's just precautionary, even if it's just part of the recovery process, why do we need to know about it? Why would Dak feel compelled to divulge that when he kept it a secret that he had a second surgery on his ankle?
How about this, Skip? If the MRI is of no consequences, of no concerns, why does Dak feel compelled to go get another one? What is it on his mind that makes him feel like something isn't right, that I need an MRI to either confirm or deny what I'm feeling? Because if you good, Skip, I mean, hey, I had an injury. Hey, I'm good to go. I didn't go to get another MRI that says, okay, Shannon, this is your timeline. You should be in here somewhere between here and here. Okay, fine. Dislocated my elbow. They say, Shannon, you're going to be back.
I got a better one for you. After the show yesterday, I said, how are you feeling after you had your hip replaced? And you said, it's feeling really good.
Feeling really good.
Do you need another MRI on your hip right now?
No.
Do you need one just to prove that it's 100%?
No.
No, you do not.
Because I saw the doctor on Tuesday. He said, you look good. He didn't say, well, you know what, Shannon? I think we need to get another MRI to make sure everything's okay. He said, you look good. As a matter of fact, less than 3 weeks, I'm already walking with no assistance.
Aha.
So,
there you go.
I don't know. This is a concern for me. Okay, maybe they want to try to downplay it, Skip, because they don't want to get anybody alarmed. But, Skip, you're not getting another MRI if everything's on the up and up. If everybody feels good, maybe the Cowboys feel good, but Dak Prescott doesn't feel good because Dak says, I'm going to get it. The Cowboys didn't say, well, we're going to get Dak another MRI. He said it, and then they try to defuse the situation while releasing a statement via Twitter.
Interesting. So why am I most concerned about this? Well, obviously, I have bet you some innumerable cases of Diet Mountain Dew that my team will at least win the NFC
Yes,
least.
you have.
And by the way, we're going to get to see a couple of members of the least on display tonight because you got your pick, Washington playing, and then Phillies playing Pittsburgh. Okay. So I still believe I have the best quarterback in the division by far, so that's why I'm picking my team to win the division.
He injured.
But the point is, do I trust my defense that much more than I did last year? I do trust the Lion, Micah Parsons, Penn State, Nittany Lion.
Right.
I think he's going to be a godsend. But can I bank on number 11 uplifting my defense to even average, to say the 15th best defense? I can't.
Right.
So it's going to come down to what I consider a very potentially explosive offense.
Right.
Well, the key position is the guy who throws the football.
Yeah.
And I've never said that Dak Prescott was John Elway or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady.
Right.
He's pretty good. He throws it pretty well.
Yeah.
But in the end, he's a gamer and a baller. He's a playmaker more than a pure thrower of the football. So in the end, I do need his arm to be healthy because I need his mind to be right and healthy and 100% committed because he's my whole show in the end, right?
Right.
Because mostly they're going to have to outscore people to win games.
You feel confident that the Cowboys are going to win the East, not because of the team, because you feel you have the best quarterback in the division.
Correct.
You're not going to pick the Cowboys to win the division if Brad DiNucci or Gilbert has to be the starting quarterback for any length of time. You're not picking
Ben DiNucci. It's
DiNucci bad.
Yeah, he's bad.
Ben Anthony DiNucci
He
or
actually
Gilbert.
got a lot of run in Hard Knocks. I don't know. He's kind of a character. Go ahead.
But do you feel as comfortable
No.
if one of those guys got to take you 4, 5, 6 games?
Hey, I got to tell you the truth. Garrett Gilbert, I assume, is going to play the first half at Arizona on Friday night.
I would assume you're correct.
It's hard to watch it. They scored 3 points the other night. They lost 16-3 to the Pittsburgh Steelers without Roethlisberger.
Correct.
How can I sell that to you?
Can't.
It's hard to watch. I'll watch number 11 on defense, and I hope they let him play a quarter maybe.
Just like you can't sell that to me, the Dallas Cowboys can't sell that, oh, he's just getting the MRI just because we want to give him an MRI.
I'm with you. So I need my quarterback to be right.
Yes.
And it's hard for him to be right when he hasn't even played. He hasn't even practiced.
Right.
He hasn't padded practiced. He didn't get to scrimmage against the Rams. He hasn't done anything.
Right.
And Stephen Jones is making the case he knows how to play football. He could just step on the field at Tampa against that defense that held those three superstar quarterbacks to 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in those 3 playoff games. He'll just step on the field against that defense and he'll pick it to pieces. Really? I hope so, but I doubt it.
Yeah. All I know is that when you open on Thursday night now, because it used to be Monday night, the winning Super Bowl team open on a Monday night. Now it's Thursday. They're going to want to show the world because this is the first chance. They had the last chance. Now they get the first chance to have everybody's undivided attention.
Right. And as much
they want to send a message.
Yeah. And as much as I love Micah Parsons, he's going to get introduced to the National Football League by this guy named Brady. Right. This 44-year-old who's the GOAT.
And you don't think Brady? Okay. He likes to fly around, so we can take advantage
of him.
Gamble. Right.
Okay. We'll get him on a running back and see if he bites on the under route. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Tom likes to throw. Hey, let's split the running back out and see if they'll walk him out there on him.
Yeah. Remember playoff Leonard Fournette?
I don't like that Dak's getting an MRI. I don't like the fact that Stephen Jones is determining, and I believe it's Stephen Jones and Jerry determining who is going to play and for how long they're going to play.
You finally misspoke. You said you don't like it. You love it. That's the truth. You love it. Thank you.
The season is not even here, and we already have enough Cowboys drama to keep us occupied. Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.